Today you get a quick overview of 4 of my favorite meals that I like to make for my family from my prepper pantry stockpile. What's up, friends? Sorry I didn't post this video yesterday. My entire family got real sick this weekend, like bad. So this weekend was not fun. In my last video I shared that it was my daughter's 4th birthday and we had a great time celebrating her birthday last weekend. But anyway, that's not what you came here for. I am here to share with you 4 of my go-to meals that I typically make for my family about a few times a month when I'm trying to go through my shelf-stable supply of pantry items. And it helps my kids get used to eating some of these meals so that if we had to eat them more frequently, that they would be okay doing that. Now, I know in my last video I said they're recipes, but you guys should know this by now. If you saw my pantry reorganization video, I don't like measuring. I don't like following recipes. I'm really more of like a feel for it type of person. Like, that feels like enough salt. That's probably enough liquid. So I don't have these meals exactly measured out to share with you. Maybe someday I'll get my life together and I can put those down on actual paper and figure out what measurements I typically use and then share them with you. First up is my personal favorite, tuna casserole. We're using egg noodles. You could use any type of noodles, sweet peas, a few cans of tuna, and cream of chicken and cream of mushroom soup. First step is obviously to boil the noodles. This recipe is honestly why I'm so comfortable having like 100 cans of tuna on hand, because I know that they'll never expire before I use them. Friendly reminder to make sure that you have a mechanical can opener, not an electrical one. Otherwise, you're going to be really in trouble in a power outage situation if you have canned food. And we're just adding the peas and the tuna to the pot here. The noodles are in the strainer, ready to be put back in. Next step is to add the cream of chicken and cream of mushroom soups, a little pepper and salt, stir that all around. And then I'm going to incorporate the noodles back into this mixture. I decided to also add a can of evaporated milk. This one is my closest to expiration, December of 2021. This will add a little bit of creaminess to it. If I was not trying to go through my pantry stockpile, I would use regular milk. The best part about this is adding chips on top of it. Honestly, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It gives it that salty, crunchy texture, and also my kids love putting chips on their bowl of pasta. So good. Next is one of my favorites to make for breakfast. I honestly could not imagine eating Spam by itself, but heated up, fried in a pan with some hash browns and some bacon, so good. I was like 3 or 4 months into prepping before I realized that dehydrated hash browns are something you could buy. Seriously a game changer, because I love hash browns. And I have a lot of frozen ones, but what if we didn't have freezers available? I will link to Amazon. I bought these in small containers on Amazon. There's like a pack of 6 of them. You just add hot water and then let it sit for like 12 minutes. It's good to go. And again, fried Spam, so much better than cold Spam. It looks so unappetizing to me, honestly, but once it's in the dish, it's so good. And I know that Spam is a really good protein option, canned meat option for shelf-stable meat. We're using only shelf-stable ingredients in this, so of course I'm using my coconut oil rather than butter. And the potatoes are ready. They are absorbed of all the water. Putting those in with the Spam, gonna fry those up and get them nice and crispy. And again, I'm only using my pantry ingredients here, but this would be so delicious if I wasn't trying to do that and I would put some eggs in here. That would really take this to a whole nother level, I think. if you're someone who has chickens or has shelf-stable, like jarred eggs, this would be a great addition. And we're just going to make sure this gets nice and crispy. The potatoes get crispy, the Spam gets a little burnt on the ends. And I have a little friend who wants to cook with me. Now, in addition to the Spam and hash, I am also making some protein pancakes. I just pour the pancake mix and the water right into the measuring cup instead of putting it in a bowl and then pouring it out with the measuring cup. It's something I just started doing that I don't know why I never thought of it before, but it's so smart. All right, and really just to take this hash and Spam to the next level, I'm adding some Velveeta cheese here. Of course, shelf-stable cheese. If we were making this fresh, adding fresh cheese would be just as great. But that just really makes it feel like as much of a homemade fresh meal as we can get with shelf-stable ingredients. My husband likes to eat his with ketchup on it. And I've got to say, I thought it would take longer for my family to get used to the Spam and hash. Obviously, they like the pancakes, but the Spam and hash really didn't take them long to get used to that either. They really enjoy it. This recipe really satisfies my craving for a creamy pasta that's like comfort food if I need it, but all with shelf-stable ingredients. And this one I'm actually making in my crock pot, so it's even easier to do when you're busy. Just putting in some bouillon cubes for flavor, a few mushrooms, drained of course. Some ranch seasoning for flavor. I really ended up using only about half of this packet of ranch flavoring. This chopped onion from Costco is honestly a game changer for shelf-stable options rather than keeping onions on hand that might go bad. I use it in so many recipes. And of course some pepper for a little bit more flavor. And the protein we're using in this recipe is going to be chicken. I don't mind the flavor of these. I think texture sometimes can be weird for people too with this canned meat, but when it's incorporated in a dish like this that's simmering for a while and it's incorporated with a whole bunch of other ingredients, you really don't notice the difference in this canned chicken as much, versus the fresh chicken. I really ended up using 2 of these cans and I put that third one back because it just looked like a lot more once I put it in the crock pot. And you guys, my husband put up another shelf in the pantry. I cannot wait to show you what else we've done. Time for the evaporated milk. I don't know why I always forget to shake the can before opening, but I do every single time. I don't know when I'm going to get it together, so of course I had to scrape the fat off the lid of this thing and kind of stir it together before putting it in the recipe. Alfredo is like my favorite dish, so I know that I would totally miss creamy textured pasta in a situation where I couldn't get these fresh ingredients. So I am determined to try to come up with the creamiest recipes I can. I also added some water to this just to give the noodles something to absorb. And in goes the pasta. Rotini noodles are my kids' favorite, which is why I always have so many boxes of these on hand. And we're going to give this a good mix and then let it kind of mold together in the crock pot for about an hour. Just until the noodles get really soft. As a mom of 3 kids, I love my put it together and forget it recipes. These bacon bits I buy from Costco come in a giant bag, so because I use them in another recipe and I need to get through this bag quickly, I'm adding it to this dish also for some flavor. And of course, some feeling of freshness in here, even though it's canned tomatoes, does add a nice touch too. The finished product, so creamy and delicious. And finally, we've got our slow cooker chili. I'm sorry, I have to use a liner for this. I do not have time to clean my crock pot. This time I used it for our party, actually, for my daughter for her 4th birthday. So I am using some fresh ingredients here, but it could easily be substituted. Like this onion, it could be, we could use that dehydrated flakes that I showed you, the Costco bag. And then we've got chili ready tomatoes and tomato sauce. I ended up doubling the number of cans used here because it wasn't enough. And I gotta admit, guys, I failed at showing the end result of this one because people were showing up as this was finishing. So I will just describe how I finished this recipe. But I put all the tomato sauce, the onions together. We've got some beef broth in here that's gonna go in. And again, normally if I was using this is completely doable with shelf-stable ingredients. I ended up using fresh ground beef because it was a party of 20 plus people and I did not want to use all my canned beef reserves that I do have. You could easily put canned beef in here, and I have done it before, but in this particular time that I was doing it, I used ground beef. Once that hamburger was all brown, I added it to the crock pot. Again, if you were using canned beef, you wouldn't need to brown it. You just throw it right in the crock pot. Give that a good stir. Add a little bit of chili seasoning mix as well. You could certainly use your own chili seasoning separately. I just actually do enjoy this mixture from Kroger that I have. And I have several packets of it to go through. So we give that a good mix, put that seasoning in there, and then we actually let this simmer for about 6 hours. I did end up adding some more beef broth to the end when people showed up because it ended up getting pretty thick. And that is probably because I also add noodles to our chili. Let me know in the comments below if you're in favor of having noodles in your chili or not. I know some people are passionate about not having noodles belonging in chili. The last thing I didn't get to add there was adding my canned beans to the chili, which you want to do at the end because they're already soft. I think because I'm stewing this for 6 hours, if you use dry beans, it probably would be okay if you started putting them in the beginning. But I used canned, so I saved that for the last like 10 minutes. And that's pretty much it for this one, friends. If you'd like to see some more recipes, because I obviously have more than this 4, let me know and I will share them with you. Otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your week.